part of the consideration has to be who's going to be able to get Jefferson the ball out of his breaks on time as accurately as possible over and over again.
It seems like after 13 weeks, we have some sort of a quarterback controversy here in Minnesota, with Kevin O'Connell being non-committal about the starting quarterback situation after Monday night's disastrous 12-10 loss to the Bears. So with 3 options to choose from, who does Kevin O'Connell go with on December 10th in Vegas against the Raiders? What are the pros and cons of starting each of Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, and Jaren Hall?
Yeah, I think that's very much up in the air. That I think Kevin O'Connell was telling the truth when he said that they were going to get together as a staff and look at every play and decide whether they thought that Josh Dobbs would be able to operate the offense the way that it's drawn up. And it's a really important thing to remember that Justin Jefferson is coming back. And let's not forget that Justin Jefferson was averaging over 100 yards a game receiving, as he did last year as well. He is the centerpiece of the offense the minute he steps back on the field. So part of the consideration has to be who's going to be able to get Jefferson the ball out of his breaks on time as accurately as possible over and over again. And that answer might be Nick Mullins. I mean, Nick Mullins has been here for the last 2 years. He was their quarterback throughout all of training camp as QB2, and then in the preseason played a ton of reps as well. And he would have been the one to take over for Kirk Cousins had Mullins not been hurt. But now that he's back at 100%, you could see him take over. I would be very surprised if it's Jaren Hall. I know that in his very brief look against the Falcons, he had a good drive, but we're talking about somebody who's very, very inexperienced, and you would be tossing them into the heat of the playoff race. That just seems unlikely for a coach that really wants to overcome that 0-3 start, really wants to overcome losing Kirk Cousins and make the playoffs. But with Josh Dobbs, there is one thing we can't forget, and that is his playmaking ability and the fact that he played well in 3 out of his 4 games. Right now, it feels pretty bad because you won't get a worse game than that from a starting quarterback with 4 interceptions. At the same time, if we're talking about who has the best ceiling, it's probably Josh Dobbs. It's a little bit of a rock and a hard place. There's no perfect answer. There's no franchise quarterback that you could pick up in the bye week to throw in there. I mean, some teams are starting Joe Flacco off the street and Tim Boyle. So it's hard when you lose your starting quarterback. So I think it's not an easy decision for them. Do you want the playmaking and the off-schedule stuff of Dobbs, which comes along with touchdowns and fumbles and interceptions? Or do you want Nick Mullins, who has not had a ton of success in his career, 5-12 as a starter, and the last time he got real starting work was 2020. They're going to have to try to make the most of the situation with whoever they go with.
That's been another Purple Insider Extra for Bring Me the Sports. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Purple Insider podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Talk to you next time.